What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about the latest album to be released by Harry Styles, entitled Harry's House. The former One Direction star's long-awaited third studio album has finally been released, and in my eyes, Styles solidified his place in pop music, contemporary pop music, with the release of his debut self-titled album back in 2017. Clearly influenced by classic rock bands and pop artists of yesteryear, names that come to mind include the Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, and David Bowie, just to name a few. His music had no problem finding its audience and quickly propelled him forward in his solo career as an artist. Since then, he has continued to produce and release what I believe to be interesting and engaging pop music, and this album approaches the same style in a more stripped back manner, maybe a bit more accessible than previous releases. The album is a total of 13 tracks, just barely clocking in at about 40 minutes in runtime. As per usual, I'll be offering my thoughts and highlights track by track, of course starting with the first one, entitled Music for a Sushi Restaurant. The instrumental consists of a lively horn section, groovy bass guitar, rich layered vocals, and it's a lovely instrumental that blends jazzy and nostalgic pop elements nicely. Thematically, it is a simple song. It turns out that Harry thought of the title when his team and were all together at a sushi restaurant, and one of his songs came on while they were there. This was back when Harry's House was just an idea, a concept, and they liked the idea of his music fitting well in the ambience of a sushi restaurant. I guess that's what brought us the song and potentially the album as a whole. On here, he sings of love and desire, and he does keep the lyrics pretty simple. Track number 2 is entitled Late Night Talking, featuring a very danceable instrumental consisting of a hollow-sounding keyboard, clean pop drums, phase synths, and a bass guitar. The prominent vocal melody is catchy, and it does carry some of the song. Harry sings of being happy with someone and loving them to the point that their happiness means more to him than his own. He describes the joy that they share with each other, and it's a very wholesome one. The second verse describes it. I've never been a fan of change, but I'd follow you to any place. If it's Hollywood or Bishopsgate, I'm coming too. While it is a bit surface level, I do like the way that Harry touches on the fact that love can, when strong enough, can push you out of your comfort zone in order to help someone else move forward, and you want to make them happy, so you'll do whatever it takes. Track number 3 is entitled Grape Juice. I enjoyed the instrumental here, featuring a choppy synth that sounds a lot like a voice, laid back pop drums behind it, and the filter that's thrown onto Harry's vocals during the verses sounds strange, but it works well. His voice sounds and feels very different from what it usually does. It feels very hollow, but his vocals sound warm and full during the chorus, providing a good textural contrast for the song as a whole. I especially love the fuzzy electric guitar that we hear towards the end. I wish that we would have had this in the song more, but because it's in there for such a brief amount of time, it makes me want to go back to the song over and over again just to hear it, so if that was deliberately done, I think it is working well. I also enjoy the fuzzy synths that we can hear swelling during the transitions throughout the song. Lyrically, it is simple. It seems to be about enjoying the little things with your person. In this case, even an overpriced glass of wine with your lover can bring you both joy. As Harry describes, sitting in the garden, I'm a couple glasses in. I was trying to count up all the places we've been. You're always there, so don't overthink. I'm so over whites and pinks. I pay for it more than I did back then. He continues this thought in the chorus where he sings, there's just no getting through without you. A bottle of rouge, just me and you. When it comes to a loved one, there, of course, is a lot of joy to be found, and sometimes that's in the most mundane of moments, and I like the way that Harry captures that feeling in the song. Track number 4 is entitled As It Was. This was the really big lead single that quickly led us into the rollout for this album, and it has been consistently on repeat for me since its release. The instrumental is oozing with nostalgia for the 80s, featuring bright synths and an upbeat synth-pop approach to the drums, but they sound very organic. It's like a live performance, and it works really well. The instrumental is lovely and happy, which is interesting because thematically the song is the opposite. Harry touches on feelings of loneliness, and he describes it in the second verse. He sings, answer the phone. Harry, you're no good alone. Why are you sitting at home on the floor? What kind of pills are you on? Ringing the bell and nobody's coming to help. Your daddy lives by himself. He just wants to know that you're well. Harry's delivery, his vocals are noticeably somber, which creates an interesting tone since, as mentioned, the musical accompaniment seems to tonally contradict that sadness. In interviews, Harry has described the song as being the product of reflecting on where he's been and where he wants to be, where he'd like to see himself in the future. I like that the vocals feel sad, but the instrumental seems to almost want to mask that sadness and opt for something more glittery, more eye catching. It's just an interesting juxtaposition. And the result is a song that is an instant classic. Track number 5 is entitled Daylight. We've got a smooth pop instrumental with a laid back, more slower tempo here. The instrumental consists of soft drums and warm keyboards and synths. The drums get larger and louder during the choruses, and eventually we have an electric guitar joining the mix to spice up the soundscape. Thematically, Harry seems to be singing of a former lover, one who drifted away from him. It's hard to tell if he misses them or not, and I think that that is an accurate depiction of the mixed feelings that one can have at the end of an unhealthy relationship. I love how he sings in the opening of the song. I'm on the roof, you're in the airplane seat. I was nosebleeding, looking for life out there. Reading your horoscope, you were just doing cocaine in my kitchen. You never listen. I hope you're missing me by now. If I was a bluebird, I would fly to you. You'd be the spoon, dip you in honey, so I could be sticking to you. I like the word choice that Harry uses here to kind of describe the emotions that one can have in the aftermath of such a breakup, but you can't really act on them, so you don't really know what to do with these emotions, and I like the way that he kind of paints a picture of that. Track number 6 is entitled Little Freak. I love the sound of the intro, featuring dozens of Harry's vocals, overdubbed. They're just kind of laid on top of each other very richly. There's a soft plucked guitar accompaniment behind the vocal harmonies, just kind of complementing them very well, creating a warm and fluffy mood. Subtle muffled drums do join the mix, which help move the song forward. It's a beautifully simple and subtle instrumental, and the chorus of the song features strong and beautiful vocal melodies that make the song much more memorable. Thematically, Harry reminisces of the one that got away, perhaps one that he pushed away. He looks back on the relationship fondly, but recognizes that he was just moving too fast for the other person. For example, in the third verse, he sings, I disrespected you, jumped in feet first and I landed too hard. A broken ankle, karma rules, you never saw my birthmark. Not everyone moves at the same speed, and he now understands that. The chorus sums up his current emotions towards this person. He sings, I was thinking about who you are, your delicate point of view. I was thinking about you. I'm not worried about where you are or who you will go home to. I'm just thinking about you. Track number 7 is entitled Matilda. The intro features wonderful acoustic guitar licks, and soon Harry's warm voice enters the mix. I like the reverb on the guitars. It does help create a rich background that envelops Harry's voice. I also enjoy the harmonic tones heard in some of the guitar licks. A lot of the guitar playing on this album is very beautiful. Eventually, a grand piano does join the mix, acting as the sole percussive element in the song. Thematically, it's full of sorrow here. Harry speaks directly to someone that didn't have a loving family growing up, and Harry has explained in interviews that the song was heavily inspired by the Roald Dahl novel of the same name. Each verse is thorough, as is the chorus, but I think my personal favorite lyrics appear during the bridge, where Harry sings, You're just in time, make your tea and your toast. You framed all your posters and dyed your clothes. You don't have to go. You don't have to go home. Oh, there's a long way to go. I don't believe that time will change your mind. In other words, I know they won't hurt you anymore as long as you can let them go. It's not a theme that I hear in Harry's music often, so it was kind of nice to have this on the album. It helps the song stand out when compared to the rest of the project. Track number 8 is entitled Cinema. I enjoy the sound of the drums on the song. They're full of flavor and character. It's a lot of fun. And the rhythm guitars that appear towards the end are full of taste and kind of sprinkle in a little bit of spice into the song. I honestly cannot get enough of Harry's vocals here, especially towards the end. His vocal delivery is so energetic. It's almost like he's shouting here. And it's just really infectious. I cannot get enough of that. Thematically, it is a playful song. Harry likens a lover to a night at the movies. He describes a strong lust that they have for each other, and it's clear that they have undeniable chemistry. My favorite lines appear during the opening verse as Harry sings, "Darling, is it cool if I'm stubborn when it comes to this? I guess we're in time if you're getting yourself wet for me. I guess you're all mine when you're sleeping in this bed with me." This is easily one of the stronger cuts from the album, definitely a highlight for me. It's clear that the whole team had a blast writing and recording it. Track number 9 is entitled Daydreaming. I like the vocal melody that we hear throughout the song. It's wet and it's also catchy. The vocalizations are jovial and they set the tone well also. Harry's voice tends to sit in a higher register here where he balances crazy high notes and him entering his falsetto register as well, and it sounds beautiful. The instrumental is groovy, featuring interesting drums, rhythm guitars, piano, and a horn section as well. The song also notably samples another song entitled Ain't We Funkin' Now by the brothers Johnson and John Mayer. John Mayer himself having some of the guitar playing and writing credits here on the song. I love all the different melodies that come together to create a wonderfully catchy tune here. I enjoy the warmth and brightness of the mix, and it matches the tone very well. Thematically, the song seems to expand on the previous one, as Harry touches more on themes of love and passion, and just enjoying another person's presence. As Harry sings in the second verse, "Stay until the morning, 'cause baby, lovin' you's the real thing. It just feels right. When you give me all of your love, give me something to dream about." It's an upbeat and danceable tune that will definitely get more listens from me as time goes on. Track number 10 is entitled Keep Driving. This song features a simple instrumental, really just consisting of an ostinato-like guitar melody and keyboards behind that. I enjoy the vocal melodies here, but the song as a whole does not really pop out much to me. It just kind of feels like a passable B-side track. Thematically, the song centers around the philosophy of brushing off inconveniences and setbacks that you might find along the way. Harry metaphorically likens that mindset to a scene of you driving along on the road and you hear a weird noise coming from your car engine, but you choose to ignore it and just continue to drive. Track number 11 is entitled Satellite. This song does feel a little different from everything else on the album, featuring a lot of synth pop style production, bright and colorful synths, jumpy drums, and smooth electric guitar chords. I love the melodies that Harry sings on this song, and I do think he delivers a strong vocal performance here. The energy of the song shifts in the last third as the drums become more stunted and they follow a slower rhythm. We've got syncopated kick drums and snares that hit on the third beat of every measure there. It's very cool. And I do wish that the drums would have gone a little bit harder here. The mixing is just very warm, but it doesn't hit like I want it to. But overall, I do still enjoy this song as it is. Thematically, it's a tune where Harry compares himself to a satellite orbiting around the one person that he wants to grow closer to. He describes this relationship during the chorus, "Spinning out, waiting for you to pull me in. I can see you're lonely down there. Don't you know that I am right here?" The song builds with this tension that he's describing until it reaches a fever pitch towards the end. And I think that the music matches that emotion when you are in love with somebody, but they just don't and won't reciprocate those feelings, and they just don't meet you at your level, and it can be frustrating. Track number 12 is entitled Boyfriends. This is another simple song in terms of instrumental. It's really a soft and somber ballad. It features a plucked acoustic guitar accompaniment with a ton of nice licks and plenty of vocals in harmony here too, not just Harry's vocals. I also like how this song feels like it's written in 12/8. I'm not sure exactly what the meter is, but I love that it gives the song a different rhythmic feel when you compare it to the rest of the album. Since it is in a compound meter, it just feels very different. Thematically, the song is heavily influenced by the bad boyfriends of the world. Just think of the partners that you would not want to have. The first verse sets the tone for the song as Harry sings, "Boyfriends, they think you're so easy. They take you for granted. They don't know. They're just misunderstanding." And finally, we close with Love of My Life, track number 13. The closer features airy production. We've got a thick Moog bass and fluffy synth pads with tons of reverb thrown onto them. Harry's vocals are wet until you reach the bridge, at which point the mix does become quiet and dry. And percussive elements are minimal, featuring a synth pop beat made up of some rides and what feel like 909 type snares. I also love the piano melody that we hear during the outro, but it is very brief. Apparently, the song was written by Harry with England in mind. He personifies the country as a lover, as he explains in the chorus. Baby, you were the love of my life. Maybe you don't know what's lost till you find it. It's not what I wanted to leave you behind. Don't know where you'll land when you fly. But baby, you were the love of my life. Harry expresses some vulnerability here as he reminisces and just thinks of his homeland. And this vulnerability matches the stripped back instrumental and thus leaves the listener to ponder on his words. Overall, I think this is a very fun album. It is very accessible, and I think that Harry's team took the album in a safe direction, but that's not to say that it makes for bad music. I do find the album as a whole very enjoyable, and I do see myself returning to this album and listening to it more and more as the years go by. The album has several high points, and I feel like it just plateaus for the most part. There's not really a lot of lows here to talk about. It's just very safe. It's very accessible. But there's never truly a dull moment on the album. The music is, while safe, it does, of course, feature many sonic callbacks to pop music of yesteryear, and it heavily borrows elements that have been proven to create solid pop tunes. So they have these tried and true methods of creating great music, so you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel there. So, in other words, Harry's team plays to their strengths and they stick to their guns on this album, honestly. It's possible that many listeners may have expected more from this project, but I personally find myself feeling satisfied upon listening. I have seen people compare Harry Styles to pop stars of yesteryear, many other artists that have come before him, and I can't agree in the sense that I find those similarities. I do hear them, but I mean, he does wear his influences on his sleeve. He doesn't try to hide those, so I'm not sure what more you would expect from the guy. But with that being said, I do look forward to his continued artistic growth, and I eagerly await whatever he decides to make next after this project. And with all that being said, if you have listened to me talking about Harry Styles and Harry's House, I genuinely do appreciate it. I've done like 10 takes of this video, and none of them were coming out good, and I was like, bro, I'm literally just not going to do the video. But here we are. I got through the take, and it is actually pretty decent. I'm going to keep this one. So thank you. I really do appreciate your support. And if you have music you want to share with somebody, you can definitely throw that my way. You can share stuff with me. I'm always looking for new stuff to listen to. I don't care what the genre is. If it's good, it's good. So, yeah, if you've got new music you're excited about, you can surely send that my way. And yeah, I mean, with all that being said, I just hope that you're having a very wonderful day. And just a friendly reminder, it is very, very hot out there. So just make sure to stay hydrated and keep yourself safe. Take care.